If your planner is looking a little neglected, you're not alone. Today on Finish It Friday, we're catching up and preparing fresh spreads for May through July in my old April journal. Grab your coffee and stick around. We're giving this planner a fresh new start. Hi, it's time once again for coffee, crafting, and cats with the Ginger Cat Lady. I'm Pam, and Harley, well, he is officially on audit duty today, but I think he's currently napping. Today, I'm deconstructing an old planner and turning it into something new. I made this journal cover back in April and filled it with all kinds of wonderful planner pages and junk journal type pages and lots of intentions, shall we say? That never came through. So today I'm giving it a fresh start by removing the unused pages and setting it up for May through June. Junk journal style, of course. So here's what I'll be using today, along with my trusty junctional journal cover. I've got some paper strips to hinge my pages together because I'll be working with full-size 8.5 by 11 pages, not folded ones. So to get those stitched into the journal, we'll need to hinge them side by side first. The background papers I'm using are from DJ at Hither and Yon. This is her May freebie, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Every month, she shares a free printable set and even creates videos showing how she's using them in her own journal builds. As soon as I saw her video yesterday, I knew I had to use these. I mean, poppies and vintage vibes. Mwah! Total chef's kiss. These are going to be the core planner pages and inserts. And I will also be using some tea-dyed papers that I prepped earlier. They're outside drying right now, but they should be ready when we get to that part of the process. And for the fun bits, I've got some border punches that I'll be using in the next step. I'll show you exactly how in just a minute. All right, let me tidy up the desk and then we'll dive in. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is take this journal apart, which is sad, but here's how it started out. Ooh, I literally love this pocket that I made in a previous video. It's gorgeous. So I like the concept behind this setup. It started out as my content planner. Here's my gratitude page, and hey, this one actually got finished and used. Look at me go. Then I had a planner spread, started out strong. This daily routine page was me trying to work with my ADHD, not against it. Yeah. I don't know how successful I've been with that. Anyway, I added a to-do list, and this is when the ABC April 2025 challenge started off. So I even had a calendar set up for that. More YouTube planning, more gratitude pages. Apparently, I wasn't so grateful this week. I didn't even start the page. And here's another one I actually started using, and then, yeah, I have no idea what week this is. Zero decorations, some scribbled plans for my trip to Australia. And then we land on this chef's kiss of a layout. So inspiring, so beautifully designed, so completely blank. Look at all this potential and all these blank pages just absolutely judging me. Silent, ruthless, judgy. And I mean, look at these pages. They're gorgeous. I printed these out with plans, okay? This was going to be my travel journal, my content planner, and some junky junk journal pages, all in one glorious little book. And yes, it did come to Australia with me. It traveled halfway around the world and then sat untouched in my carry-on, living its best life. So the plan is to redo this journal because this is where I thought I was going to be productive. Spoiler alert, I wasn't. I didn't even use the tools I had set up to help myself be productive, like at all. The whole thing just kind of fizzled. I never picked it up again once I started packing for Australia. So we're tearing it apart. We're starting fresh. And we're calling this the crafting version of a spring cleanse. All right, the first thing we need to do is go to the outside of the spine and snip the stitching that is there. This was hand sewn in, so I'm just going to go ahead and clip through the threads. Oh, and if you like this journal cover and you want to see how it was made, I'll link the video below. It was part of the hashtag ABC April 2025 challenge. I think it was Sia's for cover or something like that. I can't remember the exact title, but I'll pop the link in the description below. Okay, that piece is out, and it was actually sewn in after the original build, so I'm hoping that I can find a better way to use it this time around. I'd love to reinsert it somewhere that actually makes sense. So for now, I'm just going to set that off to the side. Now let's clip the threads on this next section. And honestly, another reason that I'm okay with redoing all of this, number one, this junk journal, still one of my favorites. I mean, face it, it's gorgeous. I love this journal cover. I absolutely love it. And I really want to use it. But I can't do any of that with all of this stuff still inside. All the stuff that I didn't use. When I first put this together, I thought I had a great idea. I knew I wanted to use 8.5 by 11 papers, so I built it with hinged pages. I've tried planning on smaller pages like bullet journals, but it just didn't work for me. I needed more space. Now, this was technically set up as a bullet journal, which is usually my thing, but let's be honest, it didn't get used this time. That said, I've got a new idea, so we're giving it a shot for May. Definitely not April. We already gave April her chance. If it works, I'll roll it into the rest of the months. But first, let's salvage what we can. There's still some pages in here I might want to use, like this paper right here. I can totally pull this out and use it for collage later. When I hinged these pages originally, I used masking tape. The idea was to make it sturdy, and it was, but two things went wrong. It was really hard to line the tape up with the pages. Everything tried to stick to everything. And when I went to sew it all together, my needles kept getting sticky, like very sticky. So we're trying something different this time. I won't be reusing this section in the current planner, so I'm just going to set it off to the side to reuse at a later time. Let me do a quick flip through to see if anything else is worth saving. Okay, this collage up here, definitely keeping that. I love it. And some of these pages will go into future journals, and I'll be pulling a few to make a separate travel planner later. But for this specific project, there's nothing else I need. So these are getting pulled out and set aside for future use. And now we're back to the bare bones. So let me clear off the desk and we'll start on the next step, putting our new signatures together. I'll be right back. Let's start making the signatures. In DJ's kit, there are two types of background pages, landscape and portrait, and I'm going to be using both of them. I printed a tea-dyed texture on the back of each sheet. That part's not from DJ's kit, just something I added to give the pages that aged vintage look that I love. First up, the landscape pages. I'm going to fold these in half to create shorter half-size pages that I'll then tuck between the full-size ones. This way they add a nice layered effect and give me some space for pockets or extra notes. Then we've got the portrait pages from DJ's kit. These will stay full size and make up the main spreads in each signature. And finally, I've got some tea-dyed bullet journal pages that I prepped earlier. They're dry and ready to go, so I'll mix these in for a little structure and some built-in guidelines. All right, let's set all of this aside because we're ready to start hinging. All right, it's time to start hinging. So we're going to bind some of these pages together using hinges, basically attaching two sheets side by side using paper strips like this. But how blah is this strip of paper? I mean, it's just a boring rectangle. I mean, yes, it'll be folded and glued between pages and eventually stitched in, but you're still going to see the edges. So solution time. Look at this. I used a punch on both sides of the strip and suddenly way cuter. Now, when my book is open, you'll see these sweet little scalloped edges sticking out from the stitched binding. I love it. First step is punching all the hinge strips. If you've never used a punch like this, here's a tip. This punch does not have a cover, so it makes a huge mess. If yours does have a cover like this one, be warned, it fills up fast and stops working properly. So here's what I do instead. I pull off the cover for the one that has it, and then I use a sheet of scrap paper underneath the punch. When it fills up, just pick up the paper and dump the mess straight into the trash. Crisis averted. All right, let's punch one together. I'm using a darker strip so it's easier to see. Just slide the strip in about halfway into the punch. I like to aim for center and punch. See that? That only punched one scallop, so I'm putting it back into the punch and lining it up with the little silver marks that it has right there. And then that allows me to punch the next part of the scallops. And you just keep repeating this until you get to the end of your scallop strip. All right, I'm going to punch the rest off camera and I'll see you back here in a minute. All right, so now it's time to start hinging these pages together. So here's how this part is going to work. I'm going to add a hinge to each full-size page so I can connect them side by side. This lets me bind them into the journal without folding them in half, which is perfect for a full-size planner layout. To do this, I've got 2 pages, a hinge strip, and my glue. That's the full setup. First, I'm adding glue to one side of the hinge strip, but don't worry about being too perfect with the glue. These will be sewn later for added strength and style, so you don't need to get a ton of glue on there. Now I'm placing the first page onto that glued edge, and then I notice that this one has a huge tear in it, but it's not a big deal. I've got a plan for fixing that later. All right, next up, more glue on the other side of the hinge. And then I line up the second page and press it into place. Once they're both attached, I'll repeat the process for the rest off camera. And then I'm going to stitch along each hinge, partly for durability, but also because it makes the spine look so much more finished. I will be right back. All right, the pages are all sewn, so now it's time to fold them in half and get them ready to sew into the cover. I'm making sure the pretty part of the hinge ends up on the inside of the fold. That way it's visible once everything's stitched in. Okay, now enjoy a quick fast forward of me folding these and refolding them because apparently I keep forgetting which way the hinge goes. It's fine. It's totally fine. Everything is fine. These next 2 folios didn't come from DJ. I grabbed them from Creative Fabrica to round out my signatures. I think that they blend really beautifully with the gorgeous papers that DJ created. And if you're interested in these as well, I will link them below. Okay, all the folios are folded, so now it's time to build out the signatures. I want to use this gorgeous page from DJ's kit as the very first page. I think it just sets the tone so perfectly. Now I just need to figure out how I want to layer everything together. Cue the dramatic thinking montage because this next part includes a lot of flipping, rearranging, second-guessing, and internal debates over paper order. I'll fast forward through the chaos. I'll see you back here in a minute. All right, the first signature is officially done. Before I forget what my brain was doing while I was assembling everything, I'm adding little post-it notes to each folio. Just quick notes to remind my future me why I put certain pages where I did. Because let's be honest, if I don't do this, I'll come back later and wonder what past me was thinking. And the answer will be no one knows. I'll speed this next part up a little so you can still see what I write, but don't have to watch it in real time. Enjoy the peek inside the planner chaos and my scary brain. follow the same process for the other signatures, picking folios, stacking them, and scribbling down my thoughts with more Post-its. You don't need to watch me second guess page order for another 11 minutes. So here's a short clip of the sped up version. You get the idea. Okay, remember that little pocket I removed at the beginning of the video? I still love it, and I want to add it back in, just in a better way this time. So first, I'm removing the lace that I had previously sewn onto the left edge, because I've got a new plan for how to reattach it. Oh, pause for one very important Harley sighting. He walked in mid-pocket surgery, so naturally I had to stop and give him some attention. All right, this project is now officially Harley approved. Okay, the lace is off, and now I'm thinking through how I want to add this pocket back into the journal, and I think I've got it. I'm going to use another paper hinge and attach it directly to the last signature. That way it stays flexible, functional, and doesn't bulk up the binding. All right, off to sew it into place, and I'll be right back. And she's done. The signatures are in, and this journal cover has officially been reborn. We gave it a fresh setup, complete with hinged pages, Post-it scribbles, and a healthy dose of planner redemption. If you had fun crafting along with me today, don't forget to come back on Make It Monday. I'll be decorating some of these new pages with handmade multi-pockets, perfect for tucking in scraps, notes, and whatever chaos the week throws at me. Want to see where this journal journey started? Check out the video where I made the cover. It's linked right here. And as always, may your scraps be endless and your glue never dry. See you in the next one. Bye.